Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the hottest spot on the internet where we dive deep into the latest rap drama, breaking news, and all the chaos going down in the streets of the industry. If you thought 2023 was wild, wait until you hear what's been going down between Asian Doll and King Von's sister. Yeah, you heard that right. It's getting real messy, and things just hit a whole new level of crazy. Now, you already know, when it comes to family beefs in the rap game, things can get super heated, but this one's different. Asian Doll, who was once close with Von, has been throwing some serious shade at his sister lately. And guess who's caught right in the middle of it? None other than Lil Durk. You might remember the crazy tension between Durk and Asian Doll a while back. But this takes the drama to a whole new level. Fans are losing their minds right now, and the real question is, who's telling the truth? Who's just playing games? And will this feud break up the whole family? Stick around, because we're about to dive deep into the mess that's got everyone talking. Stay tuned. This is about to get real. The drama between Asian Doll and King Von's sister has been bubbling for a while now, but it wasn't until recently that things really started to boil over. What started as subtle tension between two women who were once close to Von quickly spiraled into a full-blown feud that has the rap world and social media on fire. Now, to fully understand what's going on, we have to rewind a bit and look at the history between all the key players. First, let's talk about Asian Doll. The rapper, who made a name for herself with her unique style and unapologetic attitude, was one of King Von's closest confidants before his tragic passing. She made no secret of how deeply she was hurt by Von's death, and for a while, it seemed like she was determined to keep his legacy alive. She even went so far as to adopt the moniker Queen Von to honor him, and she made sure everyone knew she was riding for him through thick and thin. But things started to get complicated when Asian Doll and Lil Durk, Von's close friend and ally, had a falling out. Durk and Von were like brothers, and after Von's death, there was a lot of speculation about what role, if any, Durk played in the fallout between Asian Doll and herself. Rumors swirled, and fans started picking sides. Some believed that Asian Doll was being betrayed by the people around her, while others felt that she was acting out of pocket by making her grief public. The whole thing was messy, and it was clear that tensions were building. Then, enter King Von's sister, Kayla B. Now, Kayla has always been a very vocal figure in the aftermath of her brother's passing. She's made it clear that she's not here for anyone using Von's name for clout. And she's especially not here for any woman who comes around trying to cash in on her brother's legacy. For the longest time, Kayla was one of the few people who publicly defended Asian Doll, even going as far as to say that she understood the grief that Asian Doll was feeling and the emotional toll it took on her. But that all changed recently. It all went down on social media. Kayla B posted a series of cryptic messages that seemed to be directed at Asian Doll. At first, it wasn't clear if she was just venting or if she was trying to send a direct shot. But soon enough, the truth came out. Kayla took to Instagram Live, and in a no-holds-barred rant, she called out Asian Doll for what she saw as disrespect toward her brother's memory. She's out here acting like she was Von's real girl, like they were in some deep relationship, Kayla said, her voice filled with frustration. But let's keep it 100. She was just a side chick. Von didn't even claim her like that. I don't know why she's out here acting like she was the only one who mattered to him. Now, you have to understand how this hits. Kayla's words were like a slap in the face to Asian Doll's entire persona. For months, Asian Doll had been publicly mourning Von, speaking on their bond and sharing intimate moments of their time together. So, for Von's own sister to come out and say that she was just a side chick, well, that was a bombshell. Fans immediately went into overdrive, flooding social media with their reactions. Some were on Kayla's side, agreeing that Asian Doll was overplaying her relationship with Von for the clout. Others, however, were quick to defend Asian Doll, arguing that Kayla was just bitter and trying to tear down the woman who was clearly grieving the loss of someone she loved. But the real shocker came when Asian Doll responded. Asian Doll didn't hold back. She jumped on Instagram Live herself and fired back at Kayla with all the smoke she could muster. "I never asked for your approval, Kayla," she snapped. "Von loved me. We had something real. Don't try to make me out to be a liar or a clout chaser just 'cause you mad." The exchange was electric. The tension between them was palpable, and it was clear that things were about to get even uglier. Fans were glued to their screens, unable to look away from the drama unfolding before them. What started as a public feud between two women had quickly turned into a full-on battle for Von's legacy, and no one was backing down. But here's where things get even more complicated. Lil Durk, who has always been close to Kayla and has his own history with Asian Doll, was caught right in the middle of this mess. Now, if you know anything about Durk, you know that he doesn't like to get involved in other people's drama, especially when it comes to the women in his life. But with his name being thrown around, and with his loyalty to both Von and Kayla, Durk had to weigh in somehow. When Asian Doll took her beef with Kayla to the next level, calling her out for trying to tear down her relationship with Von, Durk was forced to address the situation. Fans were on edge, waiting to see how he would react. Would he choose sides? Would he stand by his longtime friend, Asian Doll? Or would he side with Von's sister, the family member he had been so loyal to? Durk did something a lot of people didn't expect. He didn't get involved in the back and forth on social media. Instead, he dropped a cryptic tweet that said, "Family over everything. But you gotta watch out for snakes." The tweet, while vague, seemed to hint that he was feeling torn between his loyalty to Von's family and his own personal history with Asian Doll. The fans immediately took this as a message to Kayla and Asian Doll alike. Durk was staying neutral, but he wasn't blind to the drama. The tweet sparked even more questions. Was Durk hinting that he thought one of them, maybe even both of them, was being fake? Or was he just trying to keep his peace and avoid the mess altogether? Either way, it was clear that Durk wasn't about to let himself be pulled into a public war of words between Asian Doll and Kayla. But here's where the plot thickens. As fans continued to speculate about Durk's stance, they noticed something strange. He and Kayla started to distance themselves from each other. Kayla's Instagram stories began to show less and less about Durk, and Durk, on his end, started focusing more on his music and personal projects, rather than any drama with Von's family. It was as if the bond between them was starting to unravel right before everyone's eyes. Fans began to ask the big question. Was Durk choosing sides? Was he siding with Asian Doll over Von's family? Or was he simply trying to stay out of the drama because he knew how easily it could spiral out of control? The whole situation left the fans divided. Some felt like Durk was being smart by keeping his distance and not engaging with the drama, while others believed he should have stepped in to protect his friendship with Kayla and maintain loyalty to Von's family. It became clear that whatever was going on behind the scenes, things were getting uglier by the day, and no one was really sure what the final outcome would be. The emotions were high, the stakes were even higher, and fans could feel the tension rising. Asian Doll and Kayla were at war over Von's legacy, and Lil Durk, who was supposed to be the glue holding things together, was now the wild card, stuck in the middle of it all. One thing was certain, this drama wasn't going to die down anytime soon. In fact, it was just getting started. The tension between Asian Doll and Kayla B was only heating up, and now it was beginning to spill over into the public eye in ways no one could have predicted. After that explosive back and forth on social media, fans were split, and it was clear that the stakes were much higher than anyone had initially realized. No one was backing down, and with every passing day, it seemed like more and more people were picking sides, each more invested in the drama than the last. Asian Doll, who had tried to hold it together through the turmoil, was now visibly frustrated. Every post, every tweet, every Instagram story was like a public cry for attention, a plea for validation. She was no longer just mourning the loss of Von. She was fighting for her place in his legacy, for the love and respect she believed she deserved. And she wasn't going to let anyone, not even Von's own sister, tear that down. But Kayla B, she wasn't backing off either. In fact, she was digging her heels in deeper, and it was clear she had no intentions of letting up. If anything, she seemed to be taking it as a personal mission to expose what she believed was the truth about Von's relationships, especially the one with Asian Doll. To her, the situation was simple. Asian Doll was out here doing too much, and it was time someone called her out. One evening, Kayla went live on Instagram once again, this time more fired up than ever. "Y'all keep acting like I'm the bad guy for speaking the truth." Von didn't claim her like that. "Y'all can't just keep letting these women lie on my brother's name like he was their man," she ranted, shaking her head in disbelief. "I've been quiet long enough, but now it's time to set the record straight." Fans flooded the live, some agreeing with her, while others were quick to call her bitter and petty. It was an explosive scene, and it felt like it could all erupt at any moment. Kayla wasn't just speaking about Asian Doll anymore. She was speaking to the culture of clout chasing in hip-hop and the way people would latch onto tragedy for personal gain. She was calling out everyone who tried to use Von's name for something more than what it was, an attempt to stay relevant in a ruthless game. Meanwhile, Asian Doll had her own version of events, and she was quick to make sure her side was heard. In the days that followed, she posted more and more, letting everyone know exactly how she felt about being dragged through the mud. "You'll love to tear down the real ones, but never keep that same energy for the fake ones," she said in one of her stories. She didn't hesitate to call out Kayla directly, calling her words misguided and accusing her of using Von's name for her own personal vendetta. But what really got the people talking was the way Asian Doll responded in an even more personal way. "You're mad because I had a connection with your brother that you'll never understand," she wrote in one post, followed by a series of photos and clips of her and Von from their time together. It wasn't just about grief anymore. It was about proving something. Asian Doll wasn't just grieving, she was showing that she had something special with Von, something beyond what anyone else could claim. This is when things started to get really messy. It wasn't just about Von's legacy anymore. It was about who had the right to it. Who had the right to tell the story of King Von? Who had the right to mourn him in the way that they wanted to? Both women were essentially fighting for the narrative, and with Lil Durk staying out of the drama, it only seemed to fuel the fire. It was as if his silence was speaking louder than anything he could say. People were starting to wonder, was he secretly taking sides? Or was he just too wrapped up in his own world to even deal with the drama? One of the biggest moments that really escalated the conflict came when Durk, despite his attempts to stay out of the mess, found himself involved, whether he liked it or not. It started with a subtle but loaded tweet. Durk posted, "Loyalty is everything," and fans immediately jumped to conclusions. Was this directed at Asian Doll, who had publicly accused him of betraying her in the past? Was he trying to send a message to Kayla, reminding her of his loyalty to Von and his family? Or was this just Durk being cryptic, as he often did? It didn't take long before Kayla B caught wind of the tweet, and she wasn't having it. She posted a response on her story, calling out Durk for being two-faced and questioning his true intentions. "Don't act like you're loyal, Durk. You've been quiet about everything, and now you want to tweet some cryptic nonsense. You're a grown man. Don't let these women pull you into their mess," she said, her frustration clear. This set off a whole new wave of speculation. Was Durk really just trying to avoid the drama? Or was he secretly feeling torn between his loyalty to the family and his past with Asian Doll? And how far was he willing to let this play out before he stepped in and said something? People were starting to ask if Durk was truly loyal to the people who had been closest to Von, or if his silence meant he was distancing himself from the drama altogether. Meanwhile, Asian Doll took the opportunity to go on the offensive. In a fiery post, she said, "I'm not here for nobody's approval. I don't care what Kayla or Durk say. I was there for Von when nobody else was, and I'll keep his name alive." It was clear she was tired of being silenced, tired of being attacked. For her, this was personal. It wasn't just about a relationship anymore. It was about respect and legacy. Now, this is where the story takes another shocking turn. While the war of words continued between Asian Doll, Kayla B, and Lil Durk, a new player entered the scene. Someone no one saw coming. A well-known rapper, a close associate of both Kayla and Durk, came forward with a message that caught everyone off guard. "Y'all need to stop acting like this is some drama for clout. Von wouldn't have wanted this. He's turning in his grave watching all of y'all fight over his name." This comment struck a chord with fans. The idea that Von, who had always been known for his loyalty to his friends and family, would be watching all of this unfold and shaking his head, made the situation feel even more tragic. It wasn't just a fight between two women. It was a fight for his memory, his legacy, and it was messy. The rap world, as always, seemed to be divided. Some people sided with Kayla, believing she was the only one who truly had the right to speak on Von's legacy. Others stood behind Asian Doll, calling her the real one who had loved Von unconditionally. And then there were those who felt for both women, caught in their own grief, trying to find a way to keep Von's memory alive while navigating their own pain. But the real question that no one could answer was this: could this drama ever be resolved? Could Asian Doll and Kayla B come to some kind of understanding? Or was this feud going to tear the family apart? And what role would Lil Durk play in all of this? Would he finally step in and choose a side? Or would he continue to stay silent and let the chips fall where they may? The battle was far from over, and it seemed like every day brought a new twist. Emotions were high, and the streets were watching closely, waiting for the next big move. One thing was certain, the drama was far from over. The only question left was, how was it all going to end? Stay tuned, because the story is far from finished. As the war of words continued to escalate between Asian Doll, Kayla B, and Lil Durk, things started to take a darker turn. The tension that had been building between these three figures for months was now spilling out into the open, and fans weren't just watching the drama unfold. They were participating in it, adding fuel to the fire and pushing the conflict to even more extreme levels. Things took a real turn when Kayla B took to social media with a bombshell. In a series of now-deleted Instagram stories, she posted receipts, screenshots of old texts and conversations that she claimed proved that Asian Doll wasn't as loyal to King Von as she had made herself out to be. She claimed that the messages showed that Asian Doll had been talking to other men while she was allegedly still mourning Von's death. These receipts, if true, could tear apart everything that Asian Doll had built in terms of her connection to Von's memory. I told y'all, she wasn't about that life. Y'all keep giving this girl clout for no reason, Kayla wrote over the screenshots, her voice dripping with disdain. Here's the proof. Y'all need to stop letting her play y'all. She was never as loyal as she says she was. She was never as loyal as she says she was. When those screenshots hit the timeline, it was like a bomb went off. Fans, who had been mostly divided before, were now completely split down the middle. Some defended Asian Doll, claiming that texts could easily be manipulated, and others pointed to Kayla's post as confirmation of their suspicions. "She been moving funny," one fan wrote. "She was never really about Von. She just wanted attention." But Asian Doll wasn't one to back down, especially when she felt like she had been wronged. She responded to the accusations with a fiery post of her own. In a live stream that took over social media, she came out swinging, addressing Kayla directly. "You're just mad because I was closer to Von than you'll ever understand," she snapped. "You can post whatever screenshots you want, but none of that changes the fact that I was there for him. I was the one who was by his side when you weren't. Stop playing with me." As Asian Doll fired back, the tension between her and Kayla reached new heights. It wasn't just a battle over Von's legacy anymore. It was a full-scale war over who had the right to mourn, to love, and to be a part of his story. And what made this situation even messier was the fact that Lil Durk, the man at the center of this entire storm, still wasn't saying much. His silence was deafening, and fans were starting to wonder if he had already picked a side, but just didn't want to make it public. Or was he waiting for the perfect moment to make his move? The whispers about Durk's true feelings started circulating rapidly. People began to question if his silence was a sign of his loyalty to Kayla, his longtime friendship with Von's family, or if he was staying neutral because he didn't want to pick a side in what was becoming an increasingly toxic situation. Some believed Durk was tired of the drama, having already gone through enough turmoil in the streets. Others thought he was simply trying to avoid being dragged into a battle that had nothing to do with him. But either way, it was clear. His lack of public response was leaving room for a lot of speculation. Then, in the middle of all the chaos, something unexpected happened. In a surprise move that no one saw coming, Durk took to social media, not to address the drama directly, but to make a subtle statement that sent shockwaves through the fan base. He posted a picture of himself and Von, captioning it with a simple message: "Forever 100, you're always with me." Fans immediately began to dissect the meaning of the post. Was Durk paying homage to Von, making it clear that no matter what was happening between the women in his life, his loyalty to Von was unquestionable? Or was this his way of distancing himself from the mess altogether, making a statement that he was more focused on honoring his friend than getting caught up in the drama? The timing of the post was everything. It came right after Kayla's accusations and at the height of the tension between Asian Doll and herself. By not engaging directly, Durk was sending a message loud and clear. He wasn't going to be pulled into the personal drama. Yet, by posting about Von, he was reminding everyone that his loyalty would always lie with his brother, no matter what. But what Durk didn't expect was the backlash from both sides. On one hand, Kayla interpreted his post as a way of taking her side without saying it explicitly. After all, he had been there for Von's family throughout everything, so why wasn't he standing with her in the feud? On the other hand, Asian Doll saw Durk's post as a betrayal. To her, it felt like he was silently siding with Kayla, or at least refusing to support her in the way she needed. I guess it's clear now, Asian Doll posted later that day. I thought we had a real bond, but I see now where your loyalty really lies. It's not with me. It was a bitter pill for Asian Doll to swallow. Despite everything she had done to honor Von, she felt like she had been left out in the cold by the people who were supposed to have her back. It wasn't just about the drama with Kayla anymore. It was about feeling like she had been abandoned by the very people who should have been in her corner. And while Durk remained tight-lipped, Kayla continued to stoke the flames. In yet another Instagram story, she addressed Asian Doll's latest post. I don't care about your feelings, sweetie. I'm here for my brother, and I'm going to keep his name alive the right way. I'm not the one out here playing games, Kayla said, with an unmistakable sense of finality in her voice. The public feud had reached a boiling point. The online drama was spilling over into the streets, and fans were starting to get more vocal in their support for one side or the other. It was no longer just about social media posts or tweets. It was a full-on battle for control of King Von's legacy. Each person involved felt like they had the right to tell the story, to claim their place in his memory. But the question remained: who would come out on top in this bitter war? With Durk's silence continuing to fuel speculation, and Kayla and Asian Doll showing no signs of backing down, the whole situation seemed to be heading toward an inevitable confrontation. Something had to give, and soon, as the conflict escalated, the streets were buzzing with talk about what would happen next. Who would be the first to throw in the towel? Who would get tired of the back and forth and try to make peace? Or would this drama spiral so far out of control that there would be no coming back from it? What was clear, however, was this: the battle for King Von's legacy had only just begun, and the next chapter of this saga was sure to be even more explosive than the last. Stay tuned, because things are about to get even messier. The saga of Asian Doll, Kayla B and Lil Durk was far from over. If anything, it seemed like the stakes had only gotten higher. As the battle for King Von's legacy raged on, things were beginning to take an even more personal turn. Emotions were running wild, sides were being picked, and fans were left wondering, who would come out on top in this emotional, high-stakes drama? It all came to a head when, in an unexpected twist, Asian Doll dropped a bombshell. After months of public back and forth with Kayla, and feeling abandoned by Lil Durk, she made a major move, one that would shake the entire situation to its core. She released a diss track aimed squarely at both Kayla B and Durk. Yes, you heard that right. Asian Doll, in true rap game fashion, decided to take the battle from social media posts and cryptic tweets to actual bars. The song, titled Betrayed, took direct aim at both Kayla and Durk, calling out their actions in a way that was both shocking and revealing. Asian Doll's lyrics were raw, filled with anger, heartbreak, and regret. "You're trying to tear me down, but I've been real since day one," she rapped, her voice laced with pain. "You ain't my family, you just a fake one. I was there when Von needed me, but now you want to erase me." The song, which dropped late one night, quickly went viral. Fans flooded social media with reactions. Some applauded her for finally speaking her truth and using her platform to address the pain she had been carrying. "It's about time someone spoke up," one fan tweeted. "Asian Doll ain't wrong here. They played her like a side chick, and now she's standing up for herself." But not everyone was ready to ride for Asian Doll. Kayla B wasted no time in responding. Within hours of the diss track's release, she went live on Instagram, looking visibly unbothered, but clearly upset. "I ain't never got to diss nobody to get my point across," Kayla said, shrugging. "I've been real from the start, and if she wants to keep playing this game, that's on her. Von's legacy ain't about clout, it's about keeping it real, and I'm the one doing that." Kayla's response was blunt, but fans could feel the tension rising. This wasn't just about music anymore. It was a battle over who had the right to claim the narrative surrounding King Von's legacy. Each woman was fighting to be seen, fighting to prove they were the one who truly loved Von, and in the process, they were dragging each other through the mud. Meanwhile, Durk, still maintaining his silence, started to make waves in his own way. In a shocking move, he dropped an Instagram story that had people buzzing. It was a picture of a new song cover art, one that was clearly a tribute to Von. The song title, Loyalty Over Everything. Fans immediately started to dissect it. Was he addressing the entire situation? Was this his way of hinting that he was finally going to speak out? Or was he just doubling down on his loyalty to Von, distancing himself even further from the mess? The song didn't help clarify things either. In it, Durk rapped about loyalty, loss, and betrayal. but without directly addressing the beef between Asian Doll and Kayla. Some fans took this as a subtle dig at both women, suggesting that Durk was sending a message to everyone involved without explicitly picking a side. Others thought it was just Durk doing what he always did best, making music that spoke to his experiences, while leaving the fans to figure out the rest. One of the most talked about lines in Durk's song was, "Loyalty over everything, but don't mistake my silence for weakness." Fans immediately took to Twitter, interpreting the line as a cryptic response to the ongoing drama. Was Durk telling everyone that he was too loyal to let himself get pulled into petty feuds? Was his silence a power move, showing that he had more control over the situation than anyone realized? The back and forth between Asian Doll, Kayla B, and Durk had fans completely hooked. Some were starting to see a pattern emerging. Asian Doll was speaking out, but Kayla was getting the support of Von's family, while Durk remained the wild card, maintaining his silence and playing the long game. But here's where things took another unexpected turn. Just as the dust was starting to settle, another bombshell dropped. In a now infamous Instagram Live, Kayla B made a shocking revelation that no one saw coming. She revealed that, behind the scenes, she and Durk had been working on something big, something that could change everything. "You're all out here thinking I'm the one causing problems," Kayla said with a smirk. "But me and Durk, we've been planning something for a while now. Something that'll make all of this make sense." This announcement left fans in a frenzy. What was Kayla hinting at? Was Durk finally about to step in and make his stance clear? Had he been quietly supporting Kayla's side all along, and now they were planning a major move to shift the narrative? Or was this some kind of power play to prove to everyone that the family was in control of how Von's legacy would be handled? The speculation was wild. Some fans believed Kayla was simply trying to build up the tension, while others were convinced that there was more to this than anyone realized. "This could be the calm before the storm," one fan wrote on Twitter. Kayla and Durk might have something up their sleeves that'll shut Asian Doll down for good. But just when it seemed like everything was about to explode, something unexpected happened. Asian Doll, instead of continuing her war of words, did the unthinkable. She took to social media with a heartfelt apology. "I've been caught up in my emotions, and I know that," she began in a video posted to her Instagram. "This whole situation, the drama, the fighting, it's not what I wanted. I've lost sight of what really matters, Von, his legacy, and I let all of this mess cloud that." Asian Doll went on to apologize directly to Kayla, saying that she never meant to disrespect her brother's memory. "I know we've had our differences, but I want to move forward in peace," she said, her voice shaky. "Von wouldn't want this for us. We owe it to him to keep it together, no matter how much we hurt." The apology shocked everyone. Fans who had been riding hard for Asian Doll were left speechless, while Kayla, who had been throwing shade non-stop, had no immediate response. It seemed like the tables had turned. Had Asian Doll finally recognized the damage the drama had done? Was she ready to walk away from the feud and focus on preserving Von's memory, rather than fighting for it? The apology set the stage for the final twist in this saga. In the coming days, fans were watching closely to see if Kayla would accept or reject the apology. Would she forgive Asian Doll? Or would she double down on her accusations? And what would Durk do next? Continue to stay silent, or finally pick a side in this high-stakes battle? What was clear now was that the situation wasn't just about social media posts or diss tracks. It had become something much bigger, something that would have lasting effects on everyone involved. The tension had reached a boiling point, and no one knew what the fallout would look like. One thing was for sure. The story of King Von's legacy was far from over, and the final chapter was still to be written. But as the drama between Asian Doll, Kayla B, and Lil Durk unfolded, one thing remained certain. Everyone had a part to play, and the rap world was watching every move they made. You've been following the drama, and now we want to hear from you. What do you think? Was Asian Doll right to call out Kayla and Durk? Or is Kayla's stance justified? And Durk, staying silent throughout all of this. What's really going on there? Do you think he's playing it smart? Or is he silently picking sides? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Because trust, this is far from over. Like this video if you're invested in this crazy saga, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next shocking twist, because believe me, there's more coming. This is one of those stories that's going to leave you guessing until the very end, and we'll be here to keep you updated on every move. Keep it locked right here for more on the wild world of rap drama. This is just the beginning, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you're the first to know when the next bombshell drops. Until then, stay tuned, stay ready, and let's keep this conversation going.